Residents wonder if the city is micromanaging behind the wheel. Good evening. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. The City Council approved a distracted driving ban last night. KOMUH's Chelsea Haynes took your questions to city leaders, but had a difficult time getting anyone to answer your questions. Chelsea.
Today, I tried to figure out how the ban would be enforced and what the next steps are. I tried calling and emailing 4 city council members. No one got back with me. I also reached out to the mayor. I was told he had not been in the office all day. And the only person Columbia Police said could answer my questions was also not available. We wanted to know what you think, so I started online and then went to the streets. Hundreds of you left comments on our Facebook page, and the reaction was pretty one-sided. Lots of people felt the ban is too vague and wondered just what distracted means. Those in support say the ban will make streets safer. And one man I talked to at a local gas station said people use their phones for more than just...
Just the other day I had to drive somewhere and I'm looking at my phone for the GPS to get directions. And, you're not really like spending an hour at it, but you're like, oh, okay, I got to turn left or right. Well, somebody else could see that as, oh, you were really distracted, but it's actually helping me get where I'm going.
We'll keep trying to nail down those local leaders and let you know what they say. You can see more of our viewers' reaction on KOMU.com. Head over to our Facebook page to share your thoughts. In the studio, Chelsea Haynes, KOMU8 News.
2 calls to police, 1 house and a neighborhood looking for answers. Police aren't saying much to us about why they went in force to a house on Madison Park Drive last night. Just that it was a burglary. One neighbor said he talked to police and thinks the house was targeted and whoever broke in knew the owners wouldn't be home. Another neighbor told us a lot of investigators were on the scene last night.
I had the front door open. At one point there was a vehicle in the driveway. They had the door open to that. We're looking through it, I think.
Again, this happened in a Columbia neighborhood near Forum Boulevard. When KOMU8 News got to the scene today, one of the owners was clearing out the garage. She said, quote, "We're not talking to reporters today."
Prosecutors charged a Monroe County man in connection with a threat that put the Paris School District on lockdown. The sheriff's office posted on Facebook that deputies got a report about a possible threat. They arrested Jason Lanchi on suspicion of making a terrorist threat. Jail records show he is no longer in the jail. His arraignment is scheduled for early January. A letter sent by the district to parents says a staff member saw a forwarded social media post leading to a call to police. The district didn't release details about what was in the post, but said the safety and welfare of each and every student is a priority in the Paris 2 school district. The relationships between students and staff are essential to providing a safe learning environment. Trust is also vital to the safety and success of our students.
Missouri House Democrats are taking aim at the growing opioid addiction crisis. Today, they offered new bills to help fight the problem. The bills include establishing a drug monitoring database and needle exchange program, increased training for prescribers, and improvement to addiction treatment services. Currently, Missouri is the only state without a prescription drug monitoring program in place. House Minority Leader Gail McCain-Beatty says this is a statewide issue.
We have attached this stigma that the opioid problem is someone else's problem, that it's a drug addict problem, but it's not. It's affecting everyday working people, and we are seeing people that are dying from it.
Beatty says she thinks people will see some overlap between the goals of the Democrats and Republicans because both parties are working toward ending the opioid problem. An Osage Beach man is in jail for selling meth. The Miller County Sheriff's Department says Mark Suter confessed to the crime. Deputies arrested him after a long investigation last week. He's being held on a $250,000 bond.
Columbia developers must find new ways to pay for low-income housing. The Missouri Housing Development Commission decided the state will not pay low-income housing tax credits. KOMU8's Haley Jennings is here in the studio with reaction.
Developers will receive less money for housing projects. At the commission's meeting today, panelists had different views. Commissioner Jason Krause says the low-income housing tax credit program is very inefficient. Lieutenant Governor Mike Parson says the commission is approving a plan without knowing its effect on the community. The Columbia Housing Authority relies on state funding. Less money could mean fewer low-income houses being built. One resident says the homes are needed in the community.
You got the rich people, the poor people, the homeless people, I mean, like, everybody needs somewhere to stay.
The Columbia House Authority says without the state tax credit, it will fall $2 million short of its needs. In the studio, Haley Jennings, KMU8 News.
Here's what's happening right now. The House of Representatives will have to redo its vote on the tax proposal as they reportedly made multiple procedural mistakes. Meanwhile, the Senate is currently debating its version of the bill. Democrats say it offers massive tax cuts to the wealthy while giving little to no help to the middle class. Republicans say the cuts in the corporate tax will allow for major job growth. The bill would also remove the Affordable Care Act's penalty for people who don't purchase insurance.
President Trump denies a story alleging he thought about pulling his nomination of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. Trump had criticized federal judges who ruled to stop his travel ban on Muslim-majority countries. This happened around Gorsuch's confirmation as senators asked him about the comments, which he called disheartening and demoralizing. The president called the Washington Post story fake news and says the unnamed sources don't exist. A reporter says he stands by the story. Today, the Trump administration publicly blamed North Korea for a massive cyber attack earlier this year. The WannaCry attack infected hundreds of thousands of computers around the world, including a brief outage of the British healthcare system. Security firms say they noticed similarities in the WannaCry attack in other North Korean cyber attacks. U.S. leaders say this might result in more sanctions against North Korea beyond the nuclear weapons sanctions.
Several countries spoke in support and against President Trump's new national security strategy. The Kremlin criticized it as, quote, imperial and showing, quote, an aversion to a multipolar world. The Chinese government did not like being labeled as a strategic rival. Meanwhile, South Korea's foreign ministry says Trump is reconfirming the U.S.-South Korean alliance. Iran's president says President Trump will not succeed in destroying the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers. He told a conference in Tehran that the U.S. tried to stop the deal several times, but they haven't been able to do it so far. Yesterday, President Trump once again criticized the deal and singled out Iran as one of the leading threats to U.S. security. Well, it was another warm day out there for mid-Missouri, but will this trend last? Kenton says not so fast. Hey, Kenton.
Hey, Emily, we are going to be warm here for the next couple days, but then winter is definitely arriving. If you look at our temperature trend from our day today, we started off around 40, then we warmed up into the 50s. Actually, the high temperature in Columbia today, looking at the almanac, was 54 degrees, 34 then in the morning. So we did warm up 20 degrees throughout our day. Still above average, though, both in the high and in the low. If you're looking at precipitation, we're likely going to end the year below average for 2017. Temperature-wise, 42 in Columbia and Mexico, 39 in Moberly, 49, though, still right around 50 degrees at Lake of the Ozarks. Winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour, everything in from the northeast at this point. And we are going to be warm tomorrow once again, right around 50 for the high temperature. And we're going to see more sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Likely we will start off with quite a bit of cloud cover, though, tomorrow morning as you head out the door. But as we mentioned, that's all changing as we head towards the weekend. Our big pattern change is going to start on Friday. I have the full details on what you can expect this holiday weekend and if we might see some snow. Those details coming up later.
Kenton, thank you very much. Traveling about 3 times over the speed limit, the latest on the Amtrak derailment after the break.
I may have been released, but nothing has changed. My life will never be the same again.
Planted evidence in Baltimore has changed 2 men's lives. We'll tell you how the police officer involved is facing the consequences.
Investigators in Washington state are learning much more about yesterday's Amtrak derailment, which killed 3 and injured dozens of other passengers. NBC's Jennifer Bjorklund reports.
The search for answers continues. NTSB investigators say the Amtrak Cascades 501 was traveling toward a curve at 80 miles per hour, 50 miles an hour over the speed limit. The train tumbled off the tracks. The train's data recorder revealed more.
The emergency brake was automatically activated after when the accident was occurring, rather than being initiated by the engineer.
The NTSB says positive train control, which could have slowed the train, was in place but not operational. Investigators have promised to look at every possible factor that could have contributed to the derailment.
Distraction is one of our most wanted list priorities at the NTSB. It's a protocol for us to look at all of the cell phone records of all the crew members.
Monday's crash sent dozens of people to hospitals. Amtrak's CEO met with those affected by the derailment.
That whatever expense, whatever we can do to help, we're there to help them.
3 lives were lost in the wreck, including Zach Wilhoit and Jim Hamry. Both loved trains.
Fully assimilated the fact that those 2 good guys won't be with us anymore.
Hamry was a 3rd-generation railroad fan, starting with his grandpa, who worked for a railroad in the Midwest. His parents met working on a railroad in Montana.
A federal judge vacated the convictions against 2 men from a drug case as a Baltimore police officer awaits trial for allegedly planting the drugs involved. The judge came down from the bench to shake the 2 men's hands and apologize on behalf of the federal government. He called their convictions a result of police corruption. The 2 men pleaded guilty to heroin distribution charges in 2011, with prosecutors now saying former Baltimore Police Sergeant Wayne Jenkins planted the drugs.
I may have been released, but nothing has changed. My life will never be the same again.
We were innocent from day one. I just feel like at this moment, something has worked out in the justice system.
Jenkins is charged with destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations and deprivation of rights. Jenkins is also awaiting trial next month on organized crime and fraud charges. The driver from a 2016 school bus crash in Tennessee that killed 6 children was in court today. 25-year-old Jonathan Walker faces 34 charges after crashing a bus carrying more than 30 children. Authorities say he was speeding in November 2016 when he wrecked on a curvy road. The district attorney says there was an incoming call to Walker's phone that lasted 4 minutes before that crash. Walker's trial is set to begin on February 27.
At least 12 people are dead and more than a dozen injured after a tour bus accident in Mexico. The bus was on its way to the Mayan ruins when it crashed. Authorities still haven't figured out what caused the crash. The tour bus was carrying people from the U.S., Brazil, and Sweden.
All right, let's take a look at our flight forecast for our day tomorrow. We're not expecting any delays here for these areas. Temperatures right around the 50-degree mark here in Missouri. As you can see, 59 in Denver, around 61 in Dallas, 42, though, in New York. We'll keep you updated with the full forecast, including the holiday weekend. A lot of travel going on then. That's right after the break.
A new way for one coffee shop's customers to espresso themselves. Get it? An innovation in barista art that's brought in 400 customers in 3 days. That's later in the show. Take a look at this. It's a volcano erupting in northern Ecuador. This is over a 3-day period in the Andes. The volcano known as Reventador last erupted in 2002 when it wiped out a nearby valley. Pretty crazy video there. Well, Google Chrome will soon end annoying autoplay and full-page pop-up ads online. It will block these ads and any others that fall short of new industry standards starting in February. Google will block these ads for more than 30 days if they don't meet the guidelines. The Coalition for Better Ads, a technology and media group, proposed them. Sites could appeal the block, but they would first have to remove all ads that break the guidelines. A British charity, Action Hunger, has created and set up vending machines for the homeless. The machines will offer products including food, toiletries, and books. People with cards given out by the charity can collect 3 items a day. The machines would also come to this side of the pond in cities like Seattle, Los Angeles, and New York City. A cafe in London is doing a latte with barista art, serving up selfie chinos. They're cappuccinos with customers' selfies shaped into the foam. Customers can come in, take a selfie on their phone, and then order their customized drink. The machine scans the selfie, and it takes 4 minutes to reproduce it using food coloring. The drink costs about $7.50. How do you even drink that? So cool.
Mizzou basketball has won 6 in a row at home. Did they bite off a little more than they could chew tonight? Sports is next.
Well, everyone is used to getting Christmas cards around this time of year, but you probably haven't gotten one this small. The National Physical Laboratory created the world's smallest Christmas card. You can see it there, wow. Over 200 million of these micro cards could fit on a single postage stamp. The card is 15 micrometers wide, 20 micrometers tall, smaller than 1 centimeter.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News today, Dollar General fired a manager at the Glasgow store.
This comes after its Vaz store voted to unionize earlier this month. Why the two situations are connected, coming up tomorrow morning. Kenton.
It's a colder one tomorrow, but still above average. 32 degrees to start off the day, 49 in the afternoon. Again, a lot of sunshine really for most of the day after the clouds dissipate here in the morning. 54 on Thursday with a lot of cloud cover there. Maybe a sprinkle, but most of us are dry. Friday, still waiting to see how far north that moisture is going to get to us. So stay tuned as we track that system over the next couple days. And then we're in the 30s all weekend long and just really below average and cold the rest of 2017.
How close was that Mizzou win?
Well, as I said, hung on for dear life. That's a good Stephen F. Austin team as the Tigers